Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead, back in the studio room today. It's raining outside, kind of nasty, thunder and lightning, raining. Decided to sit down and actually talk about some things on a homestead that we don't actually think about. You know, we always think about food, we think about water, we think about shelter, which these things are all the most important things. But when it comes to surviving on a homestead, there's a lot more to it than just food and shelter and clothing. There comes those times when we're outside doing something and we just need a little bit of extra of this or a little bit of extra of that, especially if you're operating with equipment or you're trying to pull something and you need a chain. Well, you find a chain, well, the piece of chain you have is not quite long enough, or it doesn't have a hook on one end, or this or that. And we realize that we're really in a pickle because we don't have all the accessories. Well, when I was in town today, I happened to walk by a particular rack in there, and I sit and I looked at the things that I seen on this rack, and I was like, you know what? I need to up my game. I don't have these things on my homestead. And they're not that expensive, and they sure would make life a lot easier for me a lot of times. Because there's many times I'm sitting here taking a piece of chain that's got a hook on one end and a hook on the other, and there's no hook on this end, and I got another piece of chain with a hook on one end and no hook on the other end, and I'm trying to hook the two of them together and tie them, and I'm trying to make this thing work to get the length of chain I need to do something with. And I sit there today and I figured, you know what? For $5 a piece, I can correct a lot of my problems. The first thing is, I bought a hook. Now, this is a 1/4 inch. Most of my chains range from a 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch. They are, that's the size that works best for me on my homestead here. I don't need anything larger than a 3/8 chain. I've got some of them that are 25 foot long, 35 foot long. I've got some 10-foot ones, different length chains. I've got 1/4 inch chains. I've got 5/16 inch chains. Because you can't have too many chains on a homestead, I don't think. Because you're always needing a chain for something. If you get bogged down, if you need to pull a log or whatever, you always need a piece of chain. Well, I got a hook. The hook runs about $3 to $5 for this hook right here. So technically, all you got to do is pull this pin out and stick your chain in the slot here. Stick the pin back in and put a cotter key back in it. Spread the end on the cotter key, and then you've got a chain with a hook on both ends of it. And it makes life so simple. This is $3 to $5, guys. And just be sure you get the size hook to fit the size chain you got. That is one of the key important things there. Now that right there can save you a lot of heartache for $3 to $5. And if you want to step it up one more little bit, you can buy what's called a Clevis. Now this is a very simple device. It simply unscrews from this end here. You just simply unscrew it and you slide it out. Now you can use this to put, like if you've got a pin on something, or you need to drop a pin down through, you can drop a pin down through here, put a chain on the end of it, like I got a short piece of chain here, I'll show you. You can stick that chain up there. You can slide this pin through the link in that chain and tighten it back down like this here. And then you've got a chain with a Clevis hanging on the end of it here. And you can take another hook and put in it. You can put it on a pin and a tractor. If you got a pin or something you need to drop down through it and you need to pull with it, or you need to put a rope through it. You can hook a rope to a chain with that thing. It just has a lot of uses on a homestead. Now, this particular one here is galvanized. A lot of my stuff I get galvanized because that way I don't have to worry about them rusting up. It's not hard for them to screw out. Guys, there again, $3 to $5. That's relatively cheap to make your life easy on a homestead. Now then you got a hook and you've got a clevis. Now you also have what's called a double clevis or a twin clevis. Now I have one of them here I picked up. It's a very simple piece of equipment here. $5 again can make your life so simple. It's just like the hook was. You've got cotter pins, you just slide them out. Technically here it's very easy. Slide 2 cotter pins out, 2 roll pins come out of it here. And what this is great for is, like we talked about before, if you've got a chain with a hook on that end and a chain with a hook on this end, but you don't have any way to hook them in the middle, you can take a piece of chain like this one I got here, you can slide it in, you put a pin through it. Well, the clevis is hooked to that chain. You can take another piece of chain I got here that's just a scrap piece of chain, you can stick it on the other end, slide the pin through it, put the cotter keys back in it, and there you've got a chain that's held together in the middle, and it saves you a lot of headache and a lot of time, where if you need to reach on out there, if you can't quite get close enough to something to get a hold to it, and your chain's not long enough, you can hook 2 chains together, and it makes it a whole lot easier, guys. Now for here, what I just showed you, that fast I took it back out. Great thing, laid in my hand right there. No more than $15. Guys, be realistic about this. How many times have you been in the woods? This has happened to me. You're carrying a chain in the woods with you on your tractor or your equipment, and it's dangling on the end out there, you know, and especially if it's hooked to my bucket or if it's hooked to the forks or something like that. And I get out in the woods and I'll pick a log up and move it, and I look and my hook's gone off of it. It came off. Somewhere my hook's swung off of it. Then a very simple chore becomes a drastic chore. That's why on the homestead, I'm already stocking up on this kind of stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and probably purchase 4 or 5 of these and just hang them on nails in my barn out there, so that when the time comes and I need one, I'll have it. And you know, it may come a time when I may actually never need it. But you know what? If I do, I have it. So guys, that's one thing I wanted you to stop and think about today is, it's not always about food, shelter, clothing, things like that. If you want to be able to survive on a homestead, sometimes it's about having the right tools. And I have a leatherman here. I have several leathermans here at my place. I have one I keep in my truck. It stays in my little box there between my seats, because it's one of the handiest little tools you'll ever have on a homestead. You can do just about anything with it. When it comes to working with these things like this here, you need to bend these cotter keys over. Once you get them done, a leatherman, handy tool to have. Guys, I wanted to try to find something to put on a video to make us think in areas that we don't always think about. Now, this is not the only thing I have. I have a 100-foot, we call it a 100-foot oil field rope. That rope is, I've hung off of roofs and buildings many a day of my life by that rope. It's the same rope they use to tie up a barge with or anything like that. It's 100 feet long. We use it to pull down deadheads with and things. If we have a tree that we're cutting and it's leaning over on something, we'll hook that rope way up in the tree up there, and we'll back off with the tractor and we'll take that 100-foot rope and pull it, because here there's very few trees that are tall enough to actually hit you if you was to pull them, because they don't get that tall here. And guys, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that sometimes on a homestead there's the little things that we overlook that can save us the most time and can make life so convenient for us. So if you use chains on your homestead at all for anything, whether it's a lawnmower pulling something or whatever, and you have small chains, say for instance you've got chains smaller than a 1/4-inch chain, they make hooks for those. And they make clevises for those. They make twin clevises for those. Go purchase yourself some extra of all these and keep them on hand. because you never know when you might need them. So I hope this has been a little bit educational, maybe about some things that we might have forgot about on the homestead. Some things that we can stock up on that's not really that expensive, but yet can save us a lot of time in the long run. So thank you guys for Deep South Homestead.